Welcome to the Unicorn. We're talking about all things independent comics, specifically the deadliest household comic in the 80s, Rick Remender's Deadly Class. I'm Mikey.
I'm Rebecca.
And today, people, are back at it again with our... What episode is this? I'm like, because we don't, like, what, almost, yeah, this is 11 episode.
Volume 11, I think technically episode 12, because we cover the TV show.
That is true. But yeah, people, we're back doing Deadly Class again. Yay! After a very long break, we're back doing this.
We do long breaks between like every episode now. We've been doing this for like over a year.
I know, but luckily, Rebecca, we're kind of at the almost at the near end, because episode 11, which means we're at volume 11, which is which is going to be issues 49 to 52, titled "A Fond Farewell Part 1." So yeah, this is pretty much like the first part of the finale of Deadly Class. So yeah, this is coming to an end, Rebecca. You got your wish.
Finally. No, I like this book. We've just been doing this for a while.
I know, that's true. But yeah, people. So the second to last episode of the podcast. Again, it's gonna be bittersweet because like Rebecca said, I've been having fun reading this whole book and going through it and dissecting it. But that's the thing. All fun things must come to an end. So, but yeah, Rebecca, real quick though, should we give like a recap of like what we saw like from the last volume? Because I know it's been a while. Like it's really just
you're gonna have to do that. I can't recap.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it real quick. Yeah. So just people who are just joining us or have been sticking with us, for the past 11 episodes. So yeah, just a quick recap from what happened in volume 10. So we pretty much got a bunch of stuff. We have been going through kind of like the time skip phase of Deadly Class, where we've been seeing the stuff the characters like evolve throughout like the past like 2 decades. So we've seen the stuffs in like the mid 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. And it's pretty interesting the way Remender's trying to wrap it up. And you get to see and it was kind of juxtaposed with seeing with the future of these characters throughout the course of the next 20 years, as well as seeing the events of King's Dominion in the past. And we pretty much got a juxtaposition of like seeing how King's Dominion inevitably fell, and at the same time seeing characters like Marcus, Saya, Helmet, Tashawi, Zanzele in the future, pretty much in the aftermath of King's Dominion coming to an end. And we pretty much got that. We saw the aftermath of Kings where Marcus and Saya pretty much fight against each other because Saya wants to secure the future. Valedictorian, become the head of the Kurogi Syndicate, while Marcus wants to tear everything down because he wants to dismantle this system that Master Lin has created with the school. And it ended up King's Dominion conveniently coming into one of the biggest earthquakes ever recorded at the time, which is an actual historical fact, crumbling, and then Marcus leaving Lin for dead, which again doesn't secure Saya's future. So there's an animosity between that. And in the future, we kind of got a lot of stuff. Marcus going after the Petra's sick cult with with the other crew, with Zanzele and Helmet, and I'm forgetting Willie's sister's name, but her as well. And then one of the things that happened was the cult ended. They ended up killing everyone in the cult, but Brandy, who was kidnapped after the party in the previous volume, she ended up getting set free. So she was set free, which led also to her fast forward, with Saya in the I think it was the 90s or the 2000s, but it was the 90s. But cut back to Saya being a heroin addict on the streets, homeless, and pretty much becoming a lost soul in San Francisco. And then we found out that Brandy's running for Senate, which is like, oof. I see what you're doing, Rick, man. You're being meta as shit. I like that. A little commentary over there. and Marcus ending up coming at the end of Saya's issue, trying to pretty much essentially save her for reasons that we don't know yet. But yeah, it was pretty cool. It's just the fall of Kings, and also like where are these characters now post Kings, and like kind of like a back and forth time skip kind of way. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I don't know, Rebecca, what did you think of that? Like that section of that volume of the book.
I wasn't expecting a time skip, and it seems based on this volume we're sticking with it, which makes sense since we're wrapping things up. But so far, I've liked the overall direction of the time skip, even if some of our characters aren't in great places.
Of course, yeah. That's the thing. It's like that's the thing with Deadly Class that we've kind of seen as a theme, throughout the course of each volume, is that sometimes some of these characters don't get the happy endings that like they expect or they think that they should deserve. It kind of they go through some obstacles, which I think works great with the growth of these characters. So I think the time skip thing, even though it was abrupt and sudden and we didn't expect it, I think it's been working so far. And again, it's going to continue here, but it's going to be more straightforward without the past stuff. So yeah, it's going to be a good time. But yeah, Rebecca, you want to get into it now that we've recapped the people?
Yeah, get into this next volume.
Yes. So, all right, so Rebecca, so you got issue number 49 for us.
Yep. All right, so issue 49, full cover, nothing too crazy going on. Do you have any comments on it?
Not really. I mean, it's pretty much self-explanatory. It's like just the reunion between now adult Marcus and adult Saya. So I mean, and we're gonna see how that goes. So.
All right. So getting into the actual summary here, Volume 11 starts in San Francisco in the year 2001. We see Kenji is still kicking, leading the Kuroki clan, and still plotting to kill Saya. However, this time he's outsourced the work to somebody. It's not enough to just kill her anymore. He does want vengeance, but more than that, he wants art in her killing. And in order to achieve this, he says that they need to build her back up from being at her lowest where she is now, and to break her fresh again. Kenji says
he wants to make her suffer, pretty much.
Pretty much. So, Kenji says that the last face Saya will ever see will be the one she least wants to.
I gotcha. Real quick, I know you're gonna go, but like we gotta highlight again with time skips. The lovely the time skip title cards that Remender and Wes Craig create for the volume. Again, it's just I didn't expect to just see just like Bin Laden staring at me, but
9/11 for the last one in 2001.
Yeah, that's true. So love how they stick with that.
All right, so cut over to Marcus, and he's been helping Saya get clean as she's still going through heroin withdrawals. He laments that the process hasn't been easy, but Saya's not just someone from his past, but an irreplaceable piece of him.
Yeah.
Sometime later, Saya is stable enough to leave the house, and the pair go to a diner. They talk about the past, and Marcus says he's lost track of the others. A few families tried to get him since killing Master Lin, but eventually they gave up on that, and he never got around to killing Brandy because at this point it'd just make her a martyr to all the crazy people out there. Saya begrudgingly agrees, but remarks it's never the right people who die young, and we see, of course, the ghosts of Willie and what's his name? It's escaping me right now.
Willie and Billy.
Yeah, Willie and Billy.
Yeah, their names literally rhyme, Rebecca.
It's been a while since we've seen Billy.
I know, but yeah, I love that page a lot. It's just like they're still haunted by like the deaths of the friends they've made along the way. So I thought that was really nice.
Right. Yeah, it's always nice when they mention them because kind of like Marcus was saying in his whole monologue, like once you meet someone, they never like really leave you, when you care about them.
Exactly.
So as the conversation continues, Saya asks Marcus who he's working for, not believing that he's here out of concern for her. She wants the truth, as they once loved each other. Marcus notes the use of the past tense here with loved, and dives back into his signature brand of cynicism. Saya pushes back, but ultimately echoes the same sentiment Marcus thought earlier in what I just said, saying, quote, "Once we love someone, they become a part of us. We carry them forever."
Mm-hmm.
All this leads back to the two back at Saya's place sleeping together, with Saya pointing a gun at Marcus the entire time.
Literally, Rebecca, because you know I was team Saya and Marcus since the beginning. You know how satisfying this shit was? Like, it'd be like, finally, after all the bullshit, they finally get back together again.
I don't know. I'd say there's still some bullshit with this whole thing.
There is, of course, it's deadly class. There's a little bit of bullshit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this was great.
Yeah, but if the gun thing wasn't already weird enough, we see the room's bugged, and Kenji's watching this, and he confirms that Marcus is the one he hired to kill Saya, and that's how this issue ends.
Yeah, he's just like, God damn it, we can't have a happy ending.
Yeah, I'm not expecting morality from Kenji of all people, but that was crazy.
Honestly, like how sick in the head do you have to be? Like, yeah, I'm gonna hire, I'm gonna hire the person that my sister loves the most. Knowingly, he's like, yeah, they're probably gonna sleep together. I'm gonna just watch this shit. How sick in the head is that? Yeah. This ending I thought was I thought it was a good small little twist. Even though I kind of saw it coming a little bit, but I was hoping it wasn't Marcus. I was hoping it wasn't Marcus.
Yeah. I like how in the diner scene she more or less asks him because, obviously she suspects something and all that, and he dodges the question outright and just goes right to the what do you mean you did love me? Don't you still love me? All that kind of, bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, and also there's Marcus's commentary on how he perceives love to be. I thought was again, it's more of that cynicism that he's known for. But yeah, it kind of got interesting. It's even if you break off, even if you break up with someone that you've claimed that you've had strong feelings for, love doesn't ever really that love for them never really does stay away. It's a very I'm talking about it's you still care about this person,
right?
It's yeah. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I think it makes sense, and it's going back to that whole thing too. Like I said earlier, Marcus says that when you love someone, that's a piece of you that you can't replace. And even though he acts cynical, he doesn't really mean that. That's just him putting up his front.
Exactly, yeah. Because again, Marcus, every time he tries to get vulnerable, he masks that as being angsty and cynical because that's a defense mechanism for him. So yeah, overall though, this issue I thought it was a good start. Again, I got my Marcus and Saya back together moment, and then until they took it away from me by having Marcus be a traitor. But yeah, man, this was nothing besides that, nothing else, and also the Kenji plot, nothing else really happened. This is more just a setup to what's to come for the next issue.
Right, there's a couple interesting character things that we already talked about, but not really too much plot here.
But and also again, Wes Craig, we're doing the artwork again. I've missed him so much after taking a long ass break from the series, but yeah, again, his artwork he never disappoints. I always say that we've all agreed his artwork's really good. So but yeah, I mean that's all I gotta say. So we want to move on to issue number 50.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so issue number 50 of Deadly Class. Thoughts on this cover, actually, real quick. Nothing really much. I think it's just another simple cover.
Yeah, I don't think any of the covers really stick out all that much.
But yeah, so we'll get around into Fond Farewell Part 2. So this issue starts off in San Francisco, still in 2001. Yeah, it is still in 2001, right?
Yes.
I didn't miss the title
We're
page.
still in
Okay.
2001.
Yeah, we're still in 2001. And like we kind of see like Saya do like a little bit of monologue of them like of her like enacting up their plan to go take down Kenji, and we pretty much Saya's plan, and we get a plan A and a plan B. Plan A, which is Saya's plan, she wants to go in disguise as like the staff of this like like the room service staff of like this hotel that Kenji's staying at. Go undercover, use her sword, use a sword that not her sword again because she I don't know if you mentioned that record, but she pawned off her sword for drugs in the last volume, which Kenji mentions here. But she used a sword, sneak into, go up the elevators and just murder everybody and just take down Kenji, pretty much by herself. But Marcus likes to add that doing so will most likely get her killed because again she has a more personal motivation. She has a personal stake in this plan. In this plan against her own brother, and also the Kuroki Syndicate. Are essentially her family. So just that bit of weakness could potentially get her killed. Which again we see here, like she gets shot in the head, like hypothetically. But Marcus's plan, which is plan B, is that because he doesn't have any ties to the Kuroki Syndicate and he doesn't care how many of them he actually kills, he's just gonna instead of going all ninja like Sai, he's gonna just take some machine guns, go guns blazing like fucking Rambo, and just murder everybody instead. And I like how he like it's very, and they do make a nod to this. It's very like kind of like Neo Matrix type vibes where like he's doing like impossible shit, like using one bullet to kill like 7 people at once with like one headshot. Right. And she's just like, can you actually do that? And he's just like, no, like I haven't done it yet. She's like, yeah, cut the bullshit. So then the actual plan that they actually decide to do, which is again is happening in real time, is that they pretty much I think like they pretty much like fabricate like a room service call, and they get this poor innocent like young staff member to take up room service to Kenji's penthouse, and obviously the Kuroki guys at the stop because they have to check the food, and also they also nod that like he didn't know when to really order anything, and he's like, listen, I'm just trying to do my job. He's like, listen, we don't care if you try to do your job or not. We don't like uninvited guests. Period. So then they inspect the table to find that Marcus and Saya placed a bomb underneath the cart, and so everyone immediately runs and hits and runs downstairs to find cover and get not die from this explosion. And turns out, plot twist, the bomb was a dud, and he finds this out by he goes to the exit door, it's locked. Then Saya appears with her sword, be like, ha, y'all fell for it. And then she pretty much turns into Batman, and just Marcus cuts the lights and she starts taking them all out one at a time with her sword, and it is sick as shit. And when the lights cut back on, all the Kuroki are dead, and just to make sure the boy, the young staff worker isn't traumatized for the rest of his life, she pulls out like a few hundreds and is like, here for your trouble. And I thought that was really nice. But yeah, so it transitions to Marcus and Saya going to the front door of the penthouse with some C4, and this is like a kind of a cool moment that they have together, where it's like and while they're trying to figure out to go about next their plan, and Marcus makes a point. A point where he's like, man, it's like Jesus Christ, even though we had our moment, it's like I didn't miss you talking down to me all the time. And she was like, he's like, oh no, I think you do, you don't like nice girls. And it's like, and she said, it's why you love me. And then they break down, they blow up the door. They pretty much again go guns blazing. Marcus with his Uzis, Saya with their sword. Also a nod, Rebecca, just real quick. it's kind of crazy how skilled Marcus has become as like pretty much like as an assassin. Like that's what kind of shocked me. It was like again, yeah, like we saw hints of this, like his potential in the beginning, and also like him actually like putting in some work in the middle of Deadly class. But now at the end, he's like, no, he's actually like he's a force to be reckoned with. To be honest,
for all that talk about not wanting to be assassin, he's really good at it.
He's really good at it. And yeah, so they start taking all these Kurokis one by one, and it is revealed that the person who actually bought the sword was Kenji. So Saya is literally staring at her father's sword right in front of her eyes, and then also she makes a point where it's like the whole bullet thing. She's like, yeah, that was only 4 guys, and you still have 2 bullets, and conveniently he saved the last bullet. Points his pistol right at the back of her head, and this is my favorite part about this issue, and also like about like what Marcus decides to do here. Marcus doesn't want to kill Saya. He doesn't want so he's portrayed. His motivations actually betrays Kenji's offer to begin with. So he gives while pointing the gun at the back of Saya's head, he pretty much gives Saya a choice, an ultimatum, if you will. And so she gives her 2 choices. One, don't kill Kenji. Choose to leave this all behind you. Choose to pursue a better life for yourself. Leave the pain. Leave the bullshit. Like, we can just leave together. I have tons of money. We can just go on a beach, live the rest of our lives happy, and just be in love, and just be happy and in love, and just leave everything behind me, pretty much. Or Sai could take her father's sword, kill Kenji, reclaim the Kuroki Syndicate, to achieve her goal that she's always wanted, and become everything that she used to hate, pretty much. And she said, ambition or happiness, Sai. Like, make the choice. I'll give you a minute. He walks out, and we get kind of like Marcus's monologue here, while Sai makes her ultimate decision. And while he's doing that, he's just like again with Marcus's monologues, I try my best to go through, but again, it's just like it's so angsty. Like, god damn. But while he's waiting outside, he ends up walking inside through the smoke, and we get the reveal that Saya made the choice to kill Kenji. She chose ambition, and she left Marcus a note from the read. We never see what this note says. We never know what this note says, but what Marcus read, but it clearly affects him because he starts shedding a bit of a tear. He gets a little sad about it. And the thing is, he talks about how like he wanted to help Saya. He wanted to maybe show her a way out because again, he does love her and wants the best for her. But at the end of the day, like, he was ignoring the voice in his head that actually showed that actually like deep down was his true motivations. He didn't actually want to help Saya. He inevitably wanted Saya to help him because he doesn't want to live the life of kill anymore. He wants a way out, and he wanted to have Saya be pretty much his excuse to motivate him to have his way out, to find his happiness.
Yeah, I think he says, I don't remember, correct me if I'm wrong, he wanted her to make the choice for him. For him,
pretty much. Yeah, but the thing is, she doesn't, and which again is kind of good for Marcus because, and what you see in this page here, because she doesn't choose the choice that he wanted her to make, but because she goes the opposite direction, yeah, so he gets the courage to push himself to make that choice for himself. So, and that's how issue 50 ends. So thoughts on issue 50?
I like this issue. I think it has a lot of good stuff in it. Obviously, the action is good, like it always is.
It's awesome.
They always kill it with the action. The last couple of pages here, what we just talked about, that's really the meat of the issue, and I think it's really interesting, the whole like dynamic between Marcus and Saya, and you continue basically with a cycle of abuse and pain and all that kind of stuff, or do you leave it all behind? And ultimately, they both choose to stay in it, even though Marcus wanted her to make that choice for him. He does have a choice. He's just not making it for himself.
Exactly. And yeah, it's, and again, as I said before, I was team Marcus and Saya like since the beginning, but seeing here where it's like, yeah, like even though they are clearly aware that they love each other and that like they are meant to be together, like they they're meant to be together in a way due to like their past, their shared pain, and all the stuff they've went through throughout the course of this entire series. But ultimately, Saya making this choice to go back into the fold, and Marcus making the choice to step away from it. Ultimately, like realizing, yeah, like they're not. It doesn't mean they're endgame. And honestly, I was fine with that. I was like, it's the closure that Marcus needed, and it's the closure that Marcus needed, and it's the closure that she needed. And it worked. I think it works well. I think it works really well, just for the whole Saya Marcus relationship. And we're gonna see where because we don't see where this goes in this volume, but hopefully in the finale we will see maybe what Saya has become due to her decision.
I haven't read the next volume, so I know in these next 2 issues we don't see her again. I'm kind of okay if we don't see her again. I kind of like the ambiguity of this ending and knowing she went down a different path, but not necessarily seeing what happened with it.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I would be down for that as well. But I'm also in the background. I'm like, I kind of low key just want to see what Saya has been, what she does with the Kuroki. I just want to see what she does with it. Not necessarily she has to interact with Marcus or the other characters, but just like to see what she does with the Kuroki, like what she does with her dream. I think I'm just curious to see what that looks like.
Okay.
But yeah. But that, so Rebecca, you want to move on to issue number 51?
Yeah, I think that's all the thoughts I have for 50.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else. So, Deadly Class issue number 51. So, A Fond Farewell Part 3. Thoughts on this cover? This is my favorite one. I think this looks hard as fuck. Obviously we've seen Maria and her what's it called? Her cartel boss attire with obviously the Dia de los Muertos makeup that she's known for. I love this cover a lot. I think it's really cool. I
think it's the best cover in this volume. I can't remember what 52 is, so I might eat those words in like 5 minutes, but that being said, I still don't think it's like the most exciting cover ever. It is just her standing there. But I also think this cover is a little misleading because we don't get to see her be like this girl boss, whatever, all that much in the issue.
That was like the only gripe I had with this issue, was that we don't actually get to see her like be that cartel girl boss that it is what it is. But I still think this issue is good. But yeah, let's get into it, Michael. Let's get it going.
All right. So issue 51 begins in Mexico. Marcus is on some sort of hit with Masterland's ghost taunting him about how he always seems to go back to what's familiar to him. And he's saying all this as Marcus starts taking out guards. We're in the year of 2005. There's a movie reference that I can't remember what movie that is. So Mike, you're going to have to fill that in.
No, it's not a movie. It's not a movie at all. So background on this. So on the title, this is my favorite title, like time card page out of all the time card pages that we've seen so far. But this isn't from a movie. So this was footage from, I believe it was, I'm forgetting the context, but this is an actual live footage of Mike Myers on your left and then Kanye on your right. I think it was about the election of
If
2000.
you can't tell, we weren't adults in 2005.
No, we were not. We were not. We were 6 years old. But I believe it was for the election campaign for I think for Bush at the time, or maybe something like that. But like, it's the iconic Kanye moment where it's like, yeah, this is that moment where he slightly went a little crazy, where there was hints of it where he says George Bush doesn't care about black people, and yeah, I was like, this is why I love him. Runners for the culture. He's aware, know what I mean? Because I was like, of all the things you could have put for 2005, you put this. Yes, I love that. But I'll probably like, while you're reading, Rebecca, I'll probably like look up the actual context of like of this. But all I know is
feel like it doesn't need that much context.
Yeah, it's just for my sake. I just love this. But yeah, you can continue. Yeah, Mike Myers looked like he was like, "Why did you say that?" Like look at this. Like that face is like, Kanye, no.
To be fair, it's not the worst thing, especially in recent history, that Kanye has said.
This was pre Taylor Swift, like Grammys.
Graduation hadn't even come out yet.
yeah, that's true.
But anyway, it's 2005, 4 years since where we last saw in last issue. Marcus ends up sneaking behind a cartel boss and his mistress, putting a bullet in the back of the cartel boss's head. Marcus stares at the young woman, signaling her to keep quiet and telling her not to sleep with married men. Lynn reprimands him for leaving her alive just as she starts screaming for help, and Marcus runs for it as bullets start to fly after him. And also there's an explosion. The escape isn't an easy one, as Marcus nearly rips off his leg, plummeting off the building. He makes a rough landing. Multiple trucks show up full of goons looking for him, and he throws some smoke pellets into the crowd. He's able to take a few of these guys out, but he's still surrounded and greatly outnumbered. Marcus remarks that this isn't how he dies, when a voice responds, "It is without me," and he turns around and we see an older Maria.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus isn't surprised to see her, knowing that he was hired to kill her husband and his mistress, as Maria reminds him.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus tells her no on the mistress killing front, noting that the woman was only 25, the same age Maria was when she married that creep.
Mm-hmm.
Maria says to spare the ethics lesson, and that this will be the last time they meet each other, as a dead husband means that she's the new head of the cartel and that she'll get rid of the soldiers. Maria confronts the cartel, trying to play Marcus off as her bodyguard, but it's clearly not working. Furthermore, their underling leader guy says that they don't take orders from a woman, so Maria decides to go full scorched earth and start killing them as Marcus runs away. A few panels later, he shows back up as Maria's in a tight spot, saying there's too many of them and they'll have to escape. Next, we get a montage of them fighting and eventually escaping onto a small raft, as Ghostland narrates that despite everything, he always knew Marcus and Maria would end up together, so fuck you, I guess, Mikey. As the two rest tired and bloody against each other, one of them says, "I won't let you down again," and that's how we end issue 51.
While they escape into the moonlight, all romantic, like, and I was like, in my mind, I was like, fuck. Because again, for people that don't, who are new to this part, or just finding us in this episode, Marcus and Maria always bothered me because it was such a toxic relationship.
To be fair, all of Marcus's relationships have been toxic.
That is true. Yeah, we forgot about Petra as well. Yeah, Petra also. Yeah, it was also pretty bad. But yeah, I was like, but then I was like, okay, fine. They were together. Obviously the longest, and obviously had some trials and tribulations with each other in their relationship. So it was low-key kind of nice to see them together again and kicking ass and shit. So yeah.
I have a question. Who do you think is speaking in the last bubble? Because I read it as Marcus, but I think it really could work for either of them.
It could work.
They were in a toxic relationship.
And that's the thing too. Like the red narration bubbles and stuff. I didn't even I didn't realize it was Lynn until after I read it. Like it was Ghost Lynn. Like after I read it.
Yeah, it took me a second to catch on to that.
Yeah. In the end, they would be together. I honestly, it could. I could. You could make the argument that it's like, I guess both, because again, like Lynn is in Marcus. Like Lynn isn't a ghost. Even though I would laugh my ass off if like Master Lynn was like the Dark Obi-Wan to like fucking Marcus's angsty Luke Skywalker. But because it's just Marcus, like Lynn is pretty much Marcus's like conscience and like is his his inner thoughts. So I would like to say like, yeah, there's like Lynn saying that in the end they would end up be together is kind of Marcus affirming that to himself, that like he wants to give Maria another chance and end up like starting a life with her, so
right.
You can say it's both.
Syfy bailed on him too. So.
That's true. So yeah, there's still time to do that. There's still time to do that. But yeah, no, but yeah, like I thought the whole Ghostland thing I thought was great. It's just like, yeah, like Ghostland is literally just like he's Marcus's Tyler Durden. I think it's kind of funny just mocking him, and and it's kind of like a reflection of like Marcus's like self-doubt like personified. I think that's really cool. Like that Lynn was used here that way. Yeah, what do you think about the rest of this issue? I think especially just good. Like, the fact he was hired. Okay, is it ethical in terms of like hitman, client hitman privilege? That like, so why would hiring your ex-boyfriend who knows an assassin to kill your husband? Like,
well, Marcus brings that up at some point in this issue.
Yeah.
I feel like it is a little unethical when you immediately get back together with that ex.
Yeah, it's weird. Like it's like a weird.
Yeah, not that killing your husband is already like ethical, but he's also a cartel boss, so.
Yeah, I low-key think Maria's crazy ass did that shit on purpose because she wanted to get back with Marcus, but she wouldn't admit it to herself, like so she just used the hit as an excuse. Yeah, no, seeing Maria back, like, because like, when was the last time we saw her? Like, it's been a while.
Few volumes ago. I don't think we saw her in volume 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like, I think, didn't she get kidnapped by the cartel? No, yeah, I think
the last we saw her was when there was that whole fire at the school.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, so it was good seeing Maria back. And I guess less crazy. I don't know. Do you think she grew out of it? I think so.
I think the next issue she's more, mature. This one maybe not so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, but overall, I thought this issue was good. I thought it was solid. Again, the action again is we're repeating ourselves, but it's great. Also, I want to make a note real quick from the first issue from 49. Or I don't know if you mentioned this, but like Marcus said that like he after King's Dominion, like he had like almost every criminal organization coming after him, but because he was so good at evading them, they like stopped because like it was getting too expensive. Fucking Marcus is fucking grown up being a badass. That's fucking cool.
I do wish in this issue we got like an extra page or two, kind of showing what Maria's life was like in between the years a little more. Like obviously it's implied she had like a horrible marriage and all that kind of stuff, but I would have liked to see just a little more of like what her life was like in the cartel after like returning to it. You can have done more show not telling. You could just like dedicate just a page with like 4 panels of like just Maria's like showcasing Maria's journey into the cartel, like something like simple as that, just one page of like one page explaining all, like showcasing all of that, instead of just Maria talking about it. But yeah, I mean it is what it is. But we can just imagine it in our heads, Rebecca. All right. So are we good? Do you have any more thoughts on 51 before we move on to 52? That's it.
So issue number 52 of Fawn Farewell Part 4. Thoughts on this cover, Rebecca?
Yeah, I am going to eat my words from 15 minutes ago. This is my favorite cover of the bunch. Again, nothing too crazy. It's a little more detailed. and I just like it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this cover a lot too. I mean, it's again like it. Even though, yeah, like I saw this cover while I was making the thumbnails. This is a thumbnail for this video. Again, it was like when I saw this, I'm like, that should be Sai over there. But again, it should be him holding Saya. But again, this cover was really great, and again, it kind of gives you a preview of the expectation of what the expectations of their relationship going forward. But yeah, it is a good cover. All right, so we start off issue number 52 back in San Francisco, where Rebecca, I would like after seeing them drive away, on the boat in the sunset. Honestly, what do you think? Okay, before you open the book, what do you think their future was going to be like together? After the whole.
I didn't have a ton of expectation. I mean, I imagine the answer you're looking for here is that they would be assassins together.
Yeah. Yeah.
But before we get into it, I do like the direction they end up taking with this, at least so far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, people, I personally thought they were gonna be assassins together. They were gonna do James Bond shit and just travel the world and kill people and just enjoy quality time together. And it'd be nice and cool, luxury and beaches and shit. But no, instead Marcus gets a shitty writing job at the local newspaper, and they live a kind of mundane life in 2006. And okay, this title page here, is that I think that is that is Saddam Hussein's capture. So and so at the end of the it says dark era for the Iraq takeover. Okay, yeah, so yeah, pretty much the whole pretty much we're in the midst of the Iraqi war. And Rebecca, I don't know if you've been keeping track, but how old do you think they are at this point? I did the math with Marcus, because if Marcus was 15 in 1985 when the book started, he would be 30 in 2001. So then I think he's probably 30, 36 maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's about right.
Yeah. But yeah, so we get so we continue this issue with in 2006. Marcus and Maria pretty much live in a kind of somewhat mundane small apartment together. Maria is cooking dinner while Marcus comes back from a long day of work. And obviously, due to Marcus's mundane life now and normalcy, he complains about his shitty job and how how his editor doesn't really respect him, even though he wants to actually tackle be a legit journalist and tackle pieces involving the war and all that stuff, but he has to deal with all the bullshit. But but it's fine because he gets insurance, so that's nice. And while Maria is doing that, they pretty much are pretty much getting to get pretty much talking about their day, and also Maria is making fun of him for being angsty and all that stuff. But but also we find that she took a nanny job. She is a nanny, and a caretaker for rich people. And they also talk about how yeah, even though Mark is taking shit from his job, she at the same time is is taking care of kids and going in these houses that she dreamed of living in. But but they have each other.
So that's what also mention here real quick that she's technically an illegal immigrant.
Yeah. Yeah, she technically is an illegal. Yeah, no, not technically. She is. Yeah, she is pretty much an illegal immigrant, and we kind of find this. I mean, we find the information out in a dark way, where so Marcus, Maria ends up dropping the hot pan of food. Marcus actually she's burned, but no, Maria apparently has been experiencing chronic pain in her hands, and it's been getting worse and worse and worse. And Marcus wants to take her to the hospital, but like Rebecca said, she pretty much is an illegal immigrant, and is uninsured, of course. So the best she can do right now is pretty much try to power through it, and just see what happens. Marcus even notices that the bones on her hands are like curling, so you kind of get an idea of people those symptoms of what Maria like is suffering from. But again, we get kind of like these montages of like again them going out throughout their days, again them going out through their days together. He mentions that Maria is the pain's getting worse and worse, and she's having trouble sleeping. When she can't sleep, they just watch TV together, like to try to like pass the time. But again, they're trying to enjoy their normalcy together, even though there is a conflict with Maria's chronic pain that she's experiencing. But also, while this happens, while they're having while it's in the middle of the night and they end up watching TV together, they make a note that that we see Brandy on the television set, and she is talking about giving her thoughts on the Iraq War and how she plans to give the Iraqi people like a nice clean democracy due to their takeover. And Marcus and Maria kind of make the claim here that Brandy is kind of what we know as today, kind of like a very far right, like far right Christo fascist kind of politician that we see here. So they kind of make a nod of that, and obviously they turn it off because they're disgusted by it. And also, I think does Maria also mention that like she kind of like wishes that Marcus could have just taken her out while she had the chance before she could become this powerful? And again, like what you said, like he doesn't want her to make her a martyr and inspire more people. So. But yeah, there's that. Transitions again to on the next day where Marcus talks about Marcus is getting some groceries and realizes he has to pay change, like a lot of like change in order to pay for these groceries. So again, like times are getting tough for them, but again, they're going through this together. Maria, he comes home to find Maria dropping like with stuff all over the floor, like and she's just sulking like in her pain. And then she mentions that that her new boss of the kids that she takes care for is a doctor, and he dropped a box at work, and he was worried that he was going to drop his child, and then because he's a doctor, she told him what she was experiencing, and he gave her the diagnosis that she possibly either has rheumatoid arthritis or possibly even maybe lupus. And that and that the fact that they're incurable, and and also they're most expensive diseases to treat. And Marcus immediately is like, okay, I'll take a high paying hit job, like and she's like, no, like we promised each other we'll never do that again. So again, the course of action is to just Marcus just comforting her and helping her as best he can with their circumstances. And I think it's very sweet. I really thought this was. I really like this scene a lot. And while this is happening, Marcus decides, what, to get away from the glum and the suffering. Let's go on a vacation. Let's just travel, and just spend more quality time together. And while they're at a hotel, by the beach, Marcus, talks about how like Marcus decides, to ultimately pop the question Maria and surprises her with a ring, and wants him to be his wife, even though she was like, is it because I'm like dying? And she's like, no, it's not that. Like I probably was gonna do it eventually, but I figured just the best time to do it is right now while we're still young, and not like and while we're still young. So she pretty much says yes. They embrace each other, and we get a series of events where we see them go to Vegas to get married. So throw back to the last time they were in Vegas when they were kids getting high out of their minds, and they killed Chico. But it's nice to see that, yeah, it's like Marcus even makes a nod to hey, Vegas is different than it was in the 80s. Yeah, it's more like Disneyland now, but some things still haven't changed in our past with Vegas. And we see the familiar creepy ass clown being like, I still see you. And they pretty much go to the convenient Vegas speed marriage churches to get hitched, and Marcus mentions that he has a surprise for her, and it is revealed to. I was so happy seeing this page, but now we get to see 2006 Helmet, Tashawi, and Zanzele acting as the witnesses for their marriage, and I was like, that's so fucking sweet. I love that. And look at them; they're all fucking in their 30s or in their late 20s to early 30s.
I feel like this art makes them look a lot older than they actually are, though.
Yeah. But yeah, it was just nice to see that, yeah, like Zanzele and Toshawi are like still together, and Helmet is still a Viking, but like fatter, and it's like great. he's still a metal Viking. But yeah, like they pretty much act as their witnesses. They get married, even though Marcus said it's very small from what they can afford, but she says no matter what, it's perfect. And they just go through Vegas and spend time together and have fun and act a fool, and it's great. And pretty much ends with the night Marcus and Maria consummating the marriage. But while this is happening, it cuts back to Portland, Oregon, where we see a familiar face. We see this person talk about his friends Maria and Marcus getting married, and then getting sent all these photos of their time in Vegas together with their friends, and it is revealed to none other than Kendall. Yeah, it is. I was like, yeah, seeing old Kendall, and seeing now grown up Kendall, with his, I believe it's his boyfriend, or I don't know if it's his husband,
some sort of partner.
And and it was like, yeah, like Maria and Marcus finally decided to actually something respectable instead of doing the toxic bullshit they've been doing for years, back in the day. And he starts going through some photo albums, and he sees the photo that was taken of the whole crew. We see Billy, Willie, Lex, Petra, Saya, Marcus, Maria, Kendall, and I'm forgetting his boyfriend who passed away. Sorry, I'm getting them mixed up. This is Steven. Kendall was his boyfriend that was killed during the final exam. That he killed during the final exam, and he gets a little pouty about it. But yeah, it's just like a nice little moment here. And while his husband, he checks on his partner, because his partner was getting him a bottle of scotch. He comes back to find his partner dead with a bullet in his head and blood everywhere. He immediately, panics, and the person, and he says no, and he's like, oh God, he's like, no, what's going on? And the person who killed him pulls out a gun with a silencer on him. He says yes, and Steven gets killed. And we don't see this person, but we see them kind of take the computer, look at it, and walks away. And that is how issue number 52 ends. So this mysterious killer who just took out Steven is going to be going after the rest of the crew next. And cliffhanger. No happy
it's a good
ending.
one.
It's a great one. I again, it's just like, remember, like when you we've seen at this point, when you think there's going to be a happy ending, remember it's like, no, not at all. Especially not yet. This is the second to last volume. But thoughts on issue 52, Rebecca?
This is my favorite issue of the bunch, and also probably one of my favorites in all of Deadly Class. I think the writing here is really good. I like the way that they handle Maria's illness. The writing overall just felt very realistic through everything, and I like the whole mentality of, we're not getting any younger. Things aren't going to get better, so let's try and enjoy life while we can. I also, oh, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
I also really like the.
It's very reminiscent. Oh, I said it's very reminiscent of like Mr. Wilkinson, Mr. Fredrickson in Up. I think I was thinking of that the whole time during seeing
they're getting sick.
The skips. Like the skips of them enjoying their time together, and then the sickness and them dealing with that. It made me think of like that kind of that scene in Up where it's Mr. Fredrickson and his wife, their happiness, and then dealing with her disease and all that stuff. It felt really. that felt really real. Like this is the realest issue that I think we've gotten in Deadly Class so far.
Right.
Yeah.
I also really like the bit where it's like, not the bit, but where it's the recognition by Marcus that like he's out here getting to live his dream while Maria, has to pick up the slack basically, even though she is injured. I like that scene a lot. I think overall this is just a very solid issue, and I like that it has like a certain maturity to it.
It does, yeah. Like it kind of solidified for me that like especially seeing like the wedding, and you see like the like Tashawi, Helmet, and Zenzele come back, and it's like, and also seeing Steven here, even though it's brief and he gets killed unfortunately, but like it's the kids have grown up. They're not kids anymore, and they've matured, and I thought that was really nice to finally like see that. Like we actually get to finally see that, but unfortunately, like what Syfy said in the last issue in issue number 49, where it's like, yeah, they get to grow up and try to live their lives, but unfortunately, like they've lost people who have deserved to grow old along the way, So it's kind of a bittersweet thing, but it was so nice to see. It's just like them all grown up and being happy, and also they're choosing to actually stay away, to step away from the past, and try to like live a life of normalcy. I thought it was so real and just really interesting. But again, obviously, like with Deadly Class, the past is gonna come back to haunt them next volume. So, but yeah, you have anything else to say? We're on 52. You have anything else to say on 52, or is that you want to go on final thoughts real quick?
I'm good with final thoughts.
Okay. So final thoughts on Deadly Class Volume 11, A Fond Farewell. Rebecca, what do you got to say about it?
Final thoughts. I think this is a great start to the finale here. I'm excited to see what the next part holds in store and how they wrap up the story. Like I said, there's some really solid writing here. There is some good action, but I feel like that kind of takes a back seat. Not that that's a bad thing, just not as action packed as some of the other books.
Yeah.
But it's a good volume, solid volume of Deadly Class.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I mean, it's a solid volume. Again, a great start to the end. And again, this is very, it's just seeing the maturity of the characters, seeing their growth, seeing the progress they've made along the way so far. I thought it was very interesting and very real, and I'm very, very looking forward to seeing how that's all going to come to close. What Remender's going to wrap up with, and close all these arcs, all these character arcs with. Again, I really want to see what Syfy does with the Kuroki, at least like a page or something. Again, he doesn't have to interact with Marcus or anything like that, but like I just want to see what she does with it. Again, now seeing this mysterious figure who just took out Steven now go after them for reasons we don't know yet. I'm curious to see like who that person is. Actually, do you have a theory about who this person is? The moment I thought about it, I was like, I have one person in mind, and that would be one of the greatest things ever if that's the case.
I'm lucky I can even keep track of like who's alive and who's dead at this point. So I'm not really sure who it is right now. I guess it could be Syfy, but it doesn't really feel like where we left her it would be.
Yeah,
working for her. So I'm not really sure at this point.
You want me to say mine, or do you want me to just tell you off?
Yeah, go for it.
So seeing that, I don't think it's Syfy. Like I took Syfy off the board, or anyone affiliated with Syfy off the board. I think it's someone that we're gonna least expect. And knowing that this looks like a male figure, and he's a little burly, and the fact that I don't think you remember this, but this person's still alive. I
probably don't remember.
I think this person that who's gonna go after everybody and killed Steven, I think that's Shabnam.
Is he still alive?
I'm think he is. I don't remember seeing him. I don't remember him dying.
I don't remember. It's been too long since we picked up this book, man. But
yeah,
I could see that happening.
Now, wouldn't that be one of the craziest comeback stories ever? Where it's like the kid that everyone's made fun of, like, and who's looked down upon, and who was like, you know, who was looked down upon, is the one that's gonna be coming back to like go after everybody for revenge, and like the fact that he used the gun means that like he's been training for this. He's been motivated to kill these kids, these guys for years. So like, I think that'd be crazy. Now, I mean, that'd be nuts. But again, we have to fact check that to see if we have to go back to the last volume and see if he actually like is alive. Mm-hmm. But
I guess we'll find out when we end up reading the final volume in like 6 months.
Hey, no, we're gonna get it done, I promise. But yeah, people, that's pretty much it. I got really nothing else more to say, Rebecca. I think I'm good here. I'm just very excited to see the ending for it. But yeah, people, that's pretty much it. So thanks for everyone who are watching this or will watch. We appreciate it. Please comment, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below of what you thought of this volume. Have you read it? What do you think? Will you be reading it? There will be a link in the description down below to where you can purchase volume 11 right after this live is over. But yeah, people, it's 2025. I mean, check out the start of the new year. So check out me and Seamus's After Dark video where we talk about the best and worst comics. And also just check out the reaction that I dropped yesterday with me and Seamus, reacting to Daredevil Born Again. I want to get more of those views up, please, because I worked hard on that video and it's hilarious. I think it's a lot of fun. But yeah, again, it's more. We're gonna have more content for you. Again, we're gonna try our best to finish Disney class because I want to get into doing more books and different content. But just be on the lookout for whenever we will drop it, which again it will be soon, I promise. But be on the lookout for episode 12 of Deadly Class, which is going to be covering volume 12, which will be I'm trying to bring up the thumbnail, which will be A Fond Farewell Part 2, and that's going to be covering issues number 53 56. And obviously see from this thumbnail, it's going to be a sentimental goodbye with the series. So I don't want it to end, Rebecca, but it's inevitable. But yeah, so just be on the lookout for that. And as always, people, thanks again. We love this. We appreciate the support. We check out all our other videos, the After Darks, the reactions, the Deadly Class, the Transformer stuff. We have some plans in the works for 2022. Again, 2025. Sorry, I'm trying to go. So we'll see. We'll see where it takes us. But as always, get home safe. We'll catch y'all next. All right, peace.